Alright, here it is. The culmination of everything I've been working towards. The end-all be-all of my Balatro videos. This will be the one that you can just shove at people for most of their problems after they've been playing for a bit. This video is going to be both simple and complex. I'm going to go through a run of the black deck, which is the deck I see most people struggling with. During it, I'll be limiting myself on which jokers I can take, strictly taking the common jokers. The goal here is to show you can win even if you don't get the best jokers. I'll talk about the jokers I come across and we'll go through the logic of most of my choices with the hope that by watching this single run, you'll come out knowing how to play a lot better and no longer feel the need just to take the great jokers. I don't recommend playing common joker only runs until you feel more comfortable with all the systems though. However, I found it to be quite useful for seeing how effective some of the other systems are. Getting right into our first tip. As I start this video, I don't know what type of deck I'll be playing. I don't get to decide that going in. It's going to be a deck built likely around flushes or two pairs, but I don't decide that. The game does. One of the key things to learn is spotting which direction the game is pushing you and leaning into that. I'll try to explain how to get a feel for that, but it's something you kind of just need to learn. Also, for the sake of making this video as clear as possible, and a bit shorter, I will be editing out stuff and doing multiple takes. So while it won't just be one big take, I do promise it will be just one run, which will be obvious enough if you track my jokers and money and whatnot. With that said, let's get started. Before I even start the black deck, I want to cover why the deck tends to be an issue for people. That reduction in hand has a twofold issue. First, the obvious issue. You have less hands to score, leading to increased odds that you just miss clearing the round and fail. The second issue is one that I feel a lot of people miss. You earn money for leftover hands, so it's inherently a -1 money per round. The other issue stems from people chasing the so-called good jokers. The bonus of the deck is that it has an extra joker slot. A lot of people chasing the good jokers tend to try to fill up those slots with just the good jokers, meaning they never take advantage of that extra slot until late game and instead are just dealing with less money. Early on, the best jokers are any joker that gives you bonuses to mult or chips. Doesn't really matter how much, any are great. You want to clear your hands quickly and stabilize so you can save up for better jokers. You can sell the weaker jokers later, but getting extra money from winning quickly is important. When you start up your run, you'll want to glance at your tags. Without any bonuses, you can clear any of the Ante 1 blinds, though the final one can be a bit tough. But hey, if you fail, you just start a new run. No big loss, so chasing a good blind can easily be worth it. Personally, double tag, negative joker, and free shops are solid ones in the first round. Later on, rare polychrome foil can be great, but especially for this first skip, you might not have enough money to buy the joker it gives, which just sucks if it happens to you. So, in the 300 first blind here, you're usually chasing a straight or better, and that's because 75 times 4 equals 300, which would allow you to clear the round in a single hand. It's not vital that you clear it in a single hand, but that extra dollar you'd get for having the extra hand is quite useful, so usually you want to chase it. As you can see, I chased the flush, and I still have some discards left. Now, I don't recommend actually wasting the time to do all the math, but I did for this one, and this will actually add up to 74, which means I will just miss it. So I might as well waste the discards to try to chase the higher part, which I didn't get, because it doesn't matter what I play after this, I will make the rest of the points by playing a single card. Alas, I still needed to use 2 hands, but that's not a big deal. It happens, it's not going to ruin my run. So with the first store, you always have a ton of different ways to go about things. Usually your first jokers tend to start telling you how to go about things. We're going to ignore these jokers for just a moment. The Arcana cards are something you could take right away, but they're usually not a great choice right away. There's some cards that can give you money, but without extra money or jokers, they're not going to be very useful. And the rest of the cards that modify your deck, well, there's slim chances to show up early on. So while they're good cards, you want to wait just a little bit to start taking these. As for the Celestial Pack, this can be great to show your run, and if you don't have a decent joker, it can be a very good thing to help stabilize your run early on. However, I have two solid jokers that happen to turn out foil this time. The first one can earn me money if I don't have didn't use any discards. That being said, this early on, I'm probably going to use discards, but with the foil, it becomes a lot easier for me not to use discards in order to survive the hands, and this could give me a lot of money early on. The 50 chips makes it pretty solid and one of the stronger chip jokers in the game. However, the one to the right is also foil, and even stronger for the earlier game. I'm gonna want to use my discards to get better hands so I can end everything quickly, and it's gonna get a 15 mult when I do. This joker is doing both things I'm looking for right away, and I can just toss away my discards when I have a good hand, and I'm probably going to be able to clear both Ante 1 and Ante 2 with this joker alone. So I'm definitely taking this one. So I have a choice at this point. I know I can clear whatever comes my way in this ante with this joker. This skip blind now would give me $15. I might find something decent if I select this, but I am broke. So I think I'm just going to take the money this time. I don't need to stress too much on this. In fact, 50 times 15 alone is 750. So I just need to do that. Voila! So since I got somewhat lucky and have a joker that's covering me fairly well for these first ante, I can save up my money that I just got and start collecting interest on them. However, I still want to look at everything and think about whether they'd be good for stuff. This, I definitely don't want to go straights with what I have going on, since I'm doing a common only run, and I'm pretty sure every card that helps me get straights is uncommon. I don't want to chase straights. And this could be good if I built my deck out right, but getting a 4 of a kind is nearly impossible to regularly do with a base deck, so I'm not interested in that at all. As for playing cards, well, I don't know what I'm doing yet with those, and I could chase one of these to try to improve my deck, but it will cost me an extra money if I do, so I'll just skip this round. And this will easily clear everything. And again, because we saved all that money, get a nice extra $4, which ends up being about the cost of most of the packs. That's why I like trying to get my money up and trying to get it above 25, and try to keep it above 25, because it effectively lets you buy an extra pack from every single shop if you can do that. And then if you ever see anything that you really want, then you can dip it below 25, because sometimes the shop really gives you two things that you really want, and having the extra money means you can just grab those. So with these jokers, this can be alright if you have the exact build going for it, but most of the time, this joker's pretty garbage. Trying to get the ace straight is already pretty hard, because it's got to be at the trail end of the straight, and trying to build it there is just difficult. So you need the other joker that allows you to have gaps to make it easier, and while the tarot cards from it is nice, it's just not typically worth the space unless you're lucking into making the straights easier. This joker, on the other hand, despite being common, is one of the best jokers in the game. If you're doing a flush run, which haven't figured out what we're doing yet, it is amazing. You can just lean right into that, and it will give you a 20 mult for doing your flush, which one of the key features about this joker is the cards gain the mult as you play them, so anything like steel cards in your hand actually multiply this bonus as well, while most other jokers get scored after the steel cards and get triggered from left to right. If you're playing pairs and whatnot, it still ends up working alright. You can still make more spades in your deck. So this one I'm going to take in general. Because I took this one, we're going to take both of these. The Spectral Pack is a wild swing. We're going to save that one for last. We're going to see if we can't just get more spades or a way to whittle down my deck. The more money is really tempting. And I could whittle down my deck. I should whittle down my deck. So, I'm still not 100% sure if I'm fully going to spades. One joker really says I should, but I can still do that with pairs and whatnot, especially with the other joker I have going on. It will be fine. I don't really want to get rid of any of my spades. If I'm going pairs, my usual whittling habit is throwing away a pair, so I know not to chase those anymore. Since I want to save my spades, I'm just going to throw away my 2 lowest cards. And I would have loved to get, like, usually I'll do 2 of the same suit to try and make spades more common. But right now, I still don't know if I still want to go fully into flushes or pairs. So I'm just going to take the middle ground and make sure that I could do either depending on what I get next. As for the spectral, we can add foil, holographic, or polychrome to a selected card, which is very strong. Or destroy a random card in hand and add 3 random enhanced face cards. Currently, 3 of the 7 cards, 8 cards are spades. So I have a lower than 50-50 chance to destroy one of my spades to add random stuff. Or I can add one of these effects to one of my spades. Which I think I'll just do that. Take the safe bet and just make one of my bonus cards, and then advance to the next round. So with this hand and the new Joker, which, again, I consider a really strong one, you can build your run around it, so this is borderline whether or not it's truly in the spirit of not a great Joker for the purposes of this run. But I'm just going to show you, even without the flushes, it can still be quite useful as well. Get my discards down so this will fully trigger, and then that will trigger twice as well to help boost it as well. So even if you see this Joker, you do not need to go fully into spades. You can still build out the pairs and just increase your spades with the pair sum too. So with this shop, we have the Diamond Joker, works the same as spades, but I don't want to waste money on this. It would help give you options, but I don't really want options if I'm doing flushes or pairs with stuff like this. I want to focus my deck. I want to focus it as fast as possible. And I do have the Joker slots right now, but I'd rather save my money. As for a discard, it can be useful, but I'm throwing away my discards anyway, so I don't want to waste my money on that either. As for both of these, I want to chase the Arcana. I want to try to switch things to spades, and I can do the death. I have a bonus card, so I'll just grab this little 3 down here and turn it into another bonus card and another spade. As for the Celestial, I can either do 2 pairs or flushes, as those are my usual go-to. They're the easiest types to get for the most part, and you can build upon both. I don't have the flush option, so we're just going to go straight into the 2 pair for this. Now we're going to go on to the next round. So the boss, this one just discards 2 random cards per hand played. I'm just chasing whatever spades, and probably high spades. The jacks will be great. I don't actually care as long as spades show up. The kings will work. And kings are all I have. It might be enough between everything. I'm going to discard 2 random cards anyway, so I'll just leave it at this. Hope my jack sticks around if this isn't enough. It is still just quite enough, though, despite that not being leveled up, because this is still quite strong. Like I said, it would probably just carry me through Ante 2 by itself. And again, since we have something guiding us to wanting spades, we're just going to chase the Arcana pack again. Don't have anything super amazing with stuff like that. So we're just going to continue destroying anything that isn't spades right now. Just want to increase the odds for spades. I could make something a wild card. I could boost something glass-wise. But I'm just going to grab something that allows me to destroy more cards. My goal is to be able to get another suit completely out of the deck. But as long as I just keep getting rid of cards, the odds of me drawing spades that matter are good, and I'm going to save jacks and some other stuff as I get more focused. And so far, like, my level is for 2-pair, but if all I can do is destroy cards, I'm going to end up into flushes. But on to the next round. 2 more low cards, just get them out of my hand, discard anything that isn't spades for now, because why not? Have a pair of 5s that goes with it. Discard, oh, hold on to the jack, because jacks are my most common. And that's just a flush of spades. Play that. That will trigger for 20 plus. I didn't even activate my discards, but that's fine. And that will be good for that hand. With the shop, I kind of want to continue to gain money, but I do need to continue to focus my deck. A wild card will always be pretty useful when building out a flush deck. I also want to try to find more Arcana stuff in the standard pack. I should have bought this first, probably, because I might get a money card that would help. But at this point, either of these will be good. I've got decent mult going down from here, so let's go with the bonus cards to get extra chips instead. And then from the standard pack, we're just taking a bit of a chance here. I'm looking for any spades that would give me anything, or especially bonus ones. If they aren't, glass cards are fun, but I don't want to inflate my deck. So we're just going to pass that and go. If it had foil or something on it, I could have taken that and potentially put the wild card on it. But since the wild card is on the same tier level bonus as the glass, if I applied the wild to the glass card, it would have lost the glass bonus and just become a wild card instead. And on this one, since we're only running 2 jokers, and I can pretty easily still beat these things with 2 hands in the worst case, the tag to this bonus is the Mega Buffoon pack, so I might as well try to grab some new jokers. I'm still taking common only, so I can't take 2 of these jokers, so that made my answer pretty clear. Though going through, Baron can be pretty fun. It makes each held king a 1.5 times mult, though this will trigger before the rest of the jokers, kind of like a steel card. But if you have a bunch of kings that are steel cards, it can stack up nicely. The Wee Joker is actually one of my favorite little jokers. You just play a bunch of 2s and this joker keeps getting bigger. It can be very high in chip value later in the game, and then you can stop playing 2s if you want. The photograph here allows your first face card to give ×2 mult when it's scored. Order of your playing cards will matter a bit with this one, if you have some bonuses going on, especially with this card, as they can combo nicely. If the last card I play is a face card, you can basically turn this into a +40 mult. So this is definitely not bad with our build. As for this one, I'm not playing straights. This will get bigger with straights. It can be very good even if you aren't doing a straight build if you get it really early, because you can just kind of throw straights at it and build it up. However, this is just going to be 20 chips. It's just a nice little bonus, but I will replace it soon enough. So the mouth can always be a pain, especially if you're doing a flush build, as flushes don't super lean into other stuff as easily as 2 pairs do. As if you're doing 2 pairs, full houses, 4 of a kinds can show up. That being said, should have enough strength with everything else. That should be able just to play a flush and pretty much get it. It should not be too much of an issue. And if don't quite get it from the single flush, we're going to play them this way. And just a reminder, you can always move around your cards to play them in a certain order. And I want to do it in this order so that all of these will trigger with this joker first to build up the mult, before this joker gives the ×2 on this joker, or this playing card. And that is just because the order of operations matter. And it happens with the jokers up here too. You can switch these around as much as you want. I don't have any times mult jokers up here, thus it won't matter. But see, each of those get off, then that goes, multiplies, and this mouth is crushed by a single flush. So, with this shop, we're gonna go pretty quickly into buying this one. This is gonna pay for itself soon enough. We're also going to work on filling out the rest of our jokers, because wasting slots is not great with this deck. I've held back because we had enough power with this joker, but most of the time with the black deck, you want to just fill it out. I can't remember if I talked about this joker, but making ace straights is just not great. This joker is usually really good. This joker, on the other hand, I am throwing away a lot of cards with discards, but it's still better than nothing. We're going to peek at this joker, or this pack first. And I can't take this, but I can take this. And one free reroll is nothing exciting, but it is better than nothing. We will take that free reroll. And to that point, I think I'll hold on to that. Normally, I would probably replace it with this one. It is not the best bonus in the world, but especially in round or ante 1 or 2, I'd definitely take this one because it's just a mult bonus. That's pretty solid. The lowest card is going to be a 2, so it's always at minimum a 4, and usually can force it a bit higher, and it will make your runs a lot easier. But for now, everything else going on is definitely strong enough, so we'll just take this and see if we can't get more spades, which we can. Tempted to take this, but since I'm doing common only, I might have to sell whatever I get. As for spades, diamonds are my lowest, so we're just going to toss away all these diamonds. Now there's only 7 diamonds in my deck. Since I'm going strictly spades, it doesn't matter too much if I get rid of the diamonds, but it's always nice to get rid of the one suit when doing a flush build, so that the other suits might come up with a flush in a pickle. They won't be boosted like the spades, but if I'm building up flushes in general, other stuff such as my flush level will get built up, and even a secondary flush is better than no flush. Already just kind of down to clean it up. Just going to point out, these two jokers are kind of at the ends of each other. I want no discards for this joker, so going all the way down to discards. But this joker wants cards remaining in my deck. Still getting 50 chips from it, so it's not bad, but they just don't play well together. I still reordered my cards in order to trigger these correctly, because remember, these will all score first, left to right, and then this face card will trigger at the end. I didn't do this last time. I'm just going to slow it down a little bit so you can actually see the doubling from the face card happen as this one's played. So, +4, +4, +4, +4, then the ×2 from the face card there. Just showing that the order of the operations matter, and if I had done it the other way, the ×2 would have happened right away with the face card, and we wouldn't have gotten all those +4s doubled as well. Here at the shop, I have some new jokers. The first one here is Hallucination. Just gives me a chance to create a tarot card whenever I'm opening a booster pack. So as long as I'm opening up booster packs, this one's not too bad, especially if I'm strong enough that I don't need any extra bonuses to go. I'm currently doing alright with points, so I'm actually going to end up taking this one. Along with it, I've got the Swashbuckler here, which just adds the sell value of all owned jokers. This is better when you have higher value jokers, but even with the other ones, especially on the black deck, this one's going to be perfectly fine. I'm only getting 20 chips from this one. I'm not playing straights, so don't need it. And I don't love the rerolls. So we're just going to get rid of both of these and replace them with these two. Down here, I have the packs. I usually like saving up money, but now that I have this, we're going to go gambling on the Arcana packs, or both the packs, because my flush level's still not level at all, and I want to get that up. I'm defeating the rounds well enough, and I could save up for interest, but if I get lucky with Hallucination, maybe I'll get some cards that fit in. Since I already have one here, I don't want to risk Hallucination triggering twice and not getting anything. So I'm going to do this first. Switch this to a wild card just in case. I'm going to be sitting here sad because since I'm doing a commons only run, I cannot create a legendary joker. I could technically sell one of my jokers, then sell the joker and just show off the joker and talk about it. The legendary jokers are fun. They do a lot of neat things. If you ever encounter this card, you probably want to take it. 2 of the legendary jokers don't necessarily win you the game, but all of them will go really far on carrying your run. If you ever see this soul card pop up, you probably want to take it from the pack and just get rid of your weakest joker and go for it. For me, I am gonna have to go with just making more spades. Still getting rid of my diamonds, and I'll get rid of more clubs. We're gonna go to the Celestial pack and hope for Jupiter, because that's the flush one. I did get a Jupiter, so finally gonna level up that flush a little bit. I got the stone card here. It's not gonna do me any good, so I'm just gonna sell that outright. And we've gotten one back from getting that. On to the next hand, and I've already discarded my cards. Just showing again. And something you always want to keep track of when you're doing these is just how many points are you scoring in a hand. It's always a good idea to keep track of this round score to see where you're matching up and when you really need to start boosting your score. 21,000 is really not too bad, especially on Ante 4. Your end boss is usually going to be 100,000 unless you get the ones that make it 300,000 instead. So we want to be ready for that too, so we need to keep building up. So, Joker's here. The heart one, which we want nothing to do with. We just want to be leaned into spades completely at this point. So this one, useless to us. And this one, if we weren't playing just commons, obviously would be a must-have with the current deck we have going on. This one takes a bit to unlock in the game, but combining this Joker with this Joker is huge because then when we play that spade flush, we get 250 chips, which helps a ton. But we're just going to open some more packs, hope hallucinate triggers, hope we get some of the gold making jokers to show up, which we got Temperance, which is a super strong one for us to get, because that's just based on our jokers right now. So we suddenly have some money going on again. We're gonna open up the pack, look for Jupiter, hallucination triggered twice. We got double our money. We're going to do that right away, too. So we're up to 24, which means we're going to get $4 extra at the end of the next round because of interest, which at this point, we're going to try to stay above 25 because that extra interest was going to give us $5 each round, which is as much as any of the packs that show up for the most part. There's a couple that end up being like 8 or 9, but remember, we have the voucher that makes our stuff cheaper. So with those cheaper, they're like 6, 7 max. So that 5 interest will cover our booster packs and continue to allow us to scale up and collect more money. As for these, we're doing flushes. None of these really matter, so we'll just take a backup pair, I guess. The 4 of a kind is the one that has the most value, but we're not building a deck that can make a 4 of a kind, really. High card is the easiest one to play, but if we're ever playing a high card at this point, we're in a lot of trouble. So the pair makes the most sense, because we're still in trouble if we're playing a pair, but this one's going to build up a little bit nicer than the high card, and it might still score enough that we can get it out of a hand. So now we're onto a boss that can be a run-ender for a lot of flush decks if you have not been fixing your deck. The water. This one you get no discards. Since we've been fixing our deck to get a lot of spades, we've got 20 of them base and the wild card here. 21 of our cards are spades. We've also gotten rid of some cards, so only 46 cards are in our deck. Almost half of our deck are spades, which means each card that gets drawn, there's about a 50-50 chance that it's going to be a spade. Doesn't guarantee we're going to get a flush in the first hand, but between our 3 plays, we're probably going to get a flush. And because we're scoring around 20,000 points when we line up everything properly, even if we don't get a proper lineup, we'll still probably get around 10,000 points because we're doubling with that face card at the very end if we get everything right. So if we get 2 flushes here, we'll for sure be good. If we can line up one right, we'll for sure be good. So because we've been fixing the deck, we're taking chance out of the factor. We're just controlling our own fate, and odds are very high we'll get through this unscathed. Right away, we only have the 4 spades. So first thing we're going to be doing is playing a hand with a pair. It's going to be burning one of our pans, and that's fine. Can't do anything about it. It's worth 4,000 points, though, because we're getting the 15 mult from this, and we're getting the chips from this, and we're getting the mult from this. That's adding up plenty, and already we can figure out, probably not at much risk, if without any spades being played, we got 4,000 points, then as soon as we play the spade collection here, which is going to be the 3 non-face cards first, followed by the face cards, we're probably going to score at least the 8,000 that we're missing, if not more like 16,000 or so. Nope. Looks like it was more like 17 or 18. But yeah, again, it was very important going into a boss like this that we had cleaned up our deck using the mechanics that allow us to get more spades, reduce the chance that we get the other cards that we don't want when we don't have the discards, is vital to making sure that your run doesn't end in the middle here if you run into the boss like the water, as if you leave everything to chance in a gauntlet like this, eventually chance is going to win and make you lose by not giving you what you want. Back in the shop, and the game is trying to tell me to take this card. I would love to, but again, just going with commons to show you I don't need the best jokers to be able to win with even the black deck. So because we're earning enough money now, we're going to pick up seed money so we're no longer capped at the 25. It's going to drop me below the 25, but I think it will be alright. Strength doesn't super help my flush deck. This is great for a pair deck though, because what you end up doing with this, pick a different pair, say you end up with a pair of 6s in your hand, turn those 6s into 7s, then you know you're chasing one of your 6 7s, and you only have 2 6s left in your deck, so you never really want to keep your 6s. It really simplifies your deck, and it makes it a lot easier to chase your pairs, and just increases your odds that you'll always be saving the right card and getting your pairs. But I want the 1 money. I will chase the planet again, because I could use more Jupiter. I did not get the Jupiter, so we will just take some 2 pair as a backup. Got multi-cards, could get planets, but I don't think I want to waste money on that. I will take my chance on the standard pack, though. So I'm looking for any boosted spade, which I got one. Holographic on it, which is a great extra little thing, especially with what I'm playing. It's not a face card, so this will add another 10 mult to everything before it's doubled by this face card joker. So if I have a face card and can play this first, this is effectively an extra 20 mult to my score from picking this pack up. And if I end up having a death card show up from this, and am lucky enough to have this in my hand at the time, I can start making copies of this. Which is why I kind of went fishing in the pack. I was hoping to find a good card to target with copies later, so I'm making a lot of extra cards with this. And this was a beautiful find. Very lucky. So, in the next hand, Hallucination filled up my tarot cards up here. So I'm going to want to use them up. With the extra mult cards, I want to use these on the non-face cards, since I want them played before the face cards, so they can end up getting increased. I'm going to use them on the higher chip ones, just so they're worth a little bit more. As for the wild cards, I keep using them on the other aces. The aces are the highest chip cards that I can play that are not face cards. So that I can just keep maximizing as many points as I can get before things go off. And I just completely screwed up. That is fine. Because I have everything built up so much, me not clicking enough cards is perfectly fine. Mistakes happen. And fortunately, they sometimes can end your run. But thankfully, I have everything built up. Also, just pointing out, again, interest is good. That's why we're saving up money. That's why I picked up seed money, so I can just keep using interest to buy stuff as well. Anyway, on to the next part. So in the shop, we have the Showman, which is a complicated joker to make use of. It removes the limits on the card showing up multiple times, but gives no bonuses otherwise. This is great for making broken runs, as it can make some of the best jokers show up again, but it's really hard to get that built up in time, so you kind of need to use it in the middle of the game. It's uncommon, I can't take it. Even if I could, I really don't want to take it unless I'm really confident or really looking to break a run. Jupiter, I'm obviously going to buy these. Then we're going to go fishing again. Standard packs again, I'm looking for more spades. I just want to increase the odds that I'm going to draw a spade. Ideally, that spade's boosted, but any spade is fine, period. It doesn't matter at this point. I just want as many spades as possible in my deck with a flush deck. They get boosted, I get increased chances of drawing them. I want to draw a spade hand every single time I play. By the end of the game, every time I play a hand, I want it replaced with spades. I want no chance to never play a flush whenever I play. It is vital that I don't let chance do anything to me. And I get another beautiful boosted spade to take here. So this one is beautiful in many ways. First off, it has multiple tiers of boosts. Technically the last one did too. It was a gold card, it was just hiding. So if I don't play it, I get the extra money. But the red seal here is super beautiful. First off, it triggers the 30 chips twice. It triggers the 6 twice as well though, which means it will trigger this Joker twice. So we'll get the bonus from that twice. This is another great addition to the deck and another powerful ally to build our score. I got the Wheel of Fortune. It probably won't do anything, but we'll play it anyway. Nope. And then we'll do the Arcana pack again. We got the Hanged Man, which is great. And down here, we don't have too much of excitement, but we're just going to play the Hangman right now. We're going to continue to kill the diamonds and continue to kill low cards. So that's going to go away from there. And just remember, any Arcana cards or Tarot cards in the consumable up here, you can play while picking up the Arcana pack. And then we're just going to continue to boost all spades that are possible. We just want them as strong as possible so that they continue to make our score go higher. We want the numbers to go up. As long as the numbers are going up, we're not going to have too much problems going forward. Next hand, already discarded down for this. And again, we're just going to do the simple numbers check. Play it. And we see the fire. We're clearing it. We're getting closer to not clearing it simply. We need to do something to boost that more if we can. Our base flush score still is not that high. You typically want to get this to at least 7, probably closer to 10 by the end of the run, to really be safe by the time you get to the end of the boss. You don't need to clear the game by a single hand, but it doesn't hurt. Like 22,000 times the 3 we have is 60 some. That's not enough for the final boss yet. We want to get there for sure. This time we just have the one Joker being offered, the Even Steven. And when even cards are played, we get extra mult when scored. This can be interesting because we can topple up with these two as well. So it is a tempting Joker to be changed in, and if I can play 2 even cards, it could go up more. I could also get rid of Hallucination and replace all of that, which would limit me some more from copying effects, but that's probably fine. I want to build up a little bit more, and if I can get more going on that boost before the face card gets doubled, then my score will go up. And that's all I really care about at this point. While the extra Arcana cards are nice, they're not vital to my run, and I'm running out of time to keep building up. So we'll go with that, and that way I can get even more mult before it's doubled, and ideally we can make the numbers get closer to 30 or 40 by the end of Ante 6. And here we have more bonus cards going. I could chase the planets, but I only care about Jupiter. If I don't hit Jupiter, I get $2 from this card. Not the worst, not the best. Here, I get bonus cards. And I'm looking just to increase my cards as much as I can, because all of these add to my score too. Unlike the mult, they don't have to go on these. So I'll throw them on the highest two. I do need a face card to trigger this ability, so I might as well throw some bonuses on some of my face cards too. And I will buy the pack for 3 to try to chase the Jupiter. There is no Jupiter, so I'll continue to level my 2 pair as a backup. Ideally, I'll never use it, but it's better than skipping it, so I might as well pick it up. And I will note, the pack technically cost me 4, not 3, because it took me from 25 to 22, so I'm going to lose $1 of interest too. The wheel is more of a nuisance than anything that's typically super hard, so this one just makes 1 of 7 cards get drawn face down. Thing is, your hand knows exactly what's going on. When you sort by suit, it will do the suit properly. When you sort by rank, it will do the rank properly. This card is most likely a Queen, King, or Ace of Spades. However, I don't actually remember this ranking of suits off the top of my head. I think the spades are all the way on the left, but there might be one more, so I'm going to play it safe and get off that. But the suits are always in the same order. It might be the spades, heart, club, and diamond here now that I'm thinking about it. So that is probably a spade to be safe, but since it might be a face card and I only want 1 face card, I'm going to discard that anyway. And that might hurt me a little bit, but I'll eventually find more spades that are not down. Throw away another one of these. And then we're just going to rearrange like usual. And make sure I have the full hand. Verify over here. And we have the 3 extra even cards now. Those will also get the extra mult from this card. So this should easily clear this one now. We're up to 36,000 points now for a hand. So, feeling even better going forward. In this next shop, the gold card is fine, and I probably can just buy it and go stick it on a random card. But ideally, I just get rid of all the cards that aren't spades, so I'm just going to ignore it. The voucher I have in the store is really good, but up front, I'm not going to pick it up for the rest of my run, because it's unlikely anyone watching this video looking for help is going to have it. To unlock this voucher, if I'm not misremembering things, you have to buy 10 separate vouchers in a single run. That typically is only possible if you're having a really good run or really know what you're doing. So I'm not going to pick up this voucher and make everything cheaper. In order to have this one, you have to buy the first discount one, and then this one will show up. That's the same truth for any of the vouchers. If you ever unlock the higher tier one, you have to first buy the lower tier one so the higher one will go. This is a wonderful voucher. Making everything cheaper helps a ton, but because I do not believe most people that will be looking at this video will have this voucher anytime soon, I'm not going to pick it up and make this run any easier. Once you do learn extra tactics and whatnot, this is a great one to go after. But for now, we're just going to ignore it and buy the 2 packs. I still got rid of my hallucination, so I don't have the bonuses for it, but I'm still chasing more spade cards, any spade cards, and just hoping for more bonuses, and still chasing Jupiter. And now I'm going to stay above 25 with these too. So, spade card, though I could go the other way. So I also love steel cards in my deck, because they also just do an extra 5 times mult after you get all of the other bonuses going from the stuff. Since I'm up to 22 spade cards now, I could probably afford to take the steel card instead. Since this has no bonus, I'll actually change my mind and go after the steel card instead. I can handle keeping this in my hand when I score. As for the planet, if I see a Jupiter, yay, I will be taking the Jupiter. If not, I would have just grabbed something else. And in the next hand, I did not draw the steel card, but I wanted to be clear with that one because I don't think I was enough. If I had drawn the steel card, it would trigger after all the played card effects from this, but it would not trigger before any of the other mult, or after the other mult here. It would trigger in between all of that. It's the strange order of operations of everything. These cards get played, the play effects on the trigger here go off, and then the rest of the hand effects go off, and then the Joker effects go off. So the 1.5 from steel cards do not go off at the very end, but in the middle of all of that. But anyway, we're going to play this, again check our score, which should once again be around 30,000, almost 40,000, which shows that we have an incredibly stable run going on at this point, which is what you always want to see. You don't want big swings in your score, because that becomes unreliable. When you have big swings, that means that Champ says there's a chance that you sometimes will just have a number of low hands, and when that happens, you lose. When you swing big, that's a lot of fun, but what you really want is just to be really stable. Your hands to remain around the same, so it's really predictable. You'll know going in that that score is going to be safe. It's more fun and wild, perhaps, if you're swinging big and low. That's exciting. But if you want consistent victories or winning a lot, you want your hands to be predictable. So in the next shop, we first have the walkie-talkie, which increases the 10s and the 4s. If I was building up on a lot of 10s and 4s, which could be fun with Even Steven and whatnot, this would be a tempting one to take. But with a quick glance, I don't have a 10 10s and 4s. This is probably not worth taking. What I have going on is stable enough. I don't need to be chasing that. The other one is Splash. And that one scores every played card. This can be great if you're playing with a bunch of bonuses on your cards just to throw it in. Like, sometimes you have a lot of extra spade bonuses. I sometimes play like the Wrathful Joker in a pair deck too, and combine suit bonuses with pair bonuses. However, flushes require all 5 cards unless you have a specific Joker. This Joker, for this run, completely useless. Some other runs, this can be a lot of fun, but in a flush run, you almost never want this Joker. We have a decent set of Jokers, but especially with the discount, this doesn't cost too much, so I'm going to waste some money and peek at it. Again, this Joker doesn't really do much good in most decks in general, so ignore it. I am only playing one face card if I can help it, so extra chips from face cards, not very useful. If I could take both of them, then it could be a useful combo, but this is an uncommon anyway, so I'm definitely not taking this one on this run. As for the Mad Joker, unless you're playing a pair run that you have, 9 or 10 plus copies of a card, you probably never actually want to take this Joker. This Joker requires you to be constantly playing 4 of a kind to be useful. I would always take a Joker that gives you 10 or so mult all the time over this Joker that only gives you 20 on a 4 of a kind. As, I guess if you can for sure score your round on a single hand, if you get the 20 mult, maybe take it, but you probably not enough swing. I'd rather take the 10 and have that apply to my backup hand as well, as 4 of a kind, unless you have a ton, is really hard to get. And usually with all your discards and whatnot, you only get the one shot with it until you're really built up. If you find this later and you have 10 plus copies of one card and 10 plus copies of another card, and your 4 of a kinds are coming, 2-3 times in a hand if you need it, then yeah, this is a solid Joker. But most of the time, this is not a very good Joker for most pair runs. None of these are good for us, so we're just gonna skip it. Standard pack, same deal. Looking for a spade, ideally boosted. If I see another steel card like this, well, since I have no spade options, this technically is one, but as a wild card, I can't put any of the tarot card boosts on it, because the moment I do, the wild card will be stripped from it. So my only choices here are either the purple steel card, so if I discard it, I will get a tarot card, which isn't bad. But I love kind of just filling my deck with a couple extra steel cards, because they add nice bonuses. So we'll grab that and move on to the next round. So at this point, I know my hands are doing 30 to 40,000. This boss debuffs heart cards. Not a big deal for a spade deck. So worst case, I take care of this boss in 2 hands. I'll get 1 flush for sure. So I will hit 30,000 and ideally have enough going on that I can get the rest. So I think it's worth the gamble at this point because I want to build up a little bit more. In a normal run, this is a very safe grab. The 1 point times mult with what we're going on means that I'll be able to buy whatever joker I have and stick it all the way to the right here, and that joker will multiply the red box, the mult box, by 1.5 at the very end. I'm going to take a little bit of a gamble here because I can only take the joker if this triggers on a common one. Otherwise, I'm going to have to pass on it. But because the run is stable enough, I think this will be fine. And into the heart card debuffed ones. Now remember, with these ones, all my wild cards are also going to be debuffed. However, that doesn't mean that they can't be used as, or the wild cards can't be used as part of it. But that debuffed cards can't be used as part of a flush if I was to draw a flush of other stuff. I do not want to get rid of my spades. I do have the flush. I don't have the face card. I can hold on to the steel card. I only need 5 cards for the flush. So I'll throw away the 2 as well and hope I get a face card to go with everything. I did. So with everything that's going on, I'm pretty confident we'll have the score that we need. So we have everything boosted. The steel card's going to multiply everything. And again, I'll slow this down to make it a little easier to see everything that's going on. So all of these have extra chips on them. The red seal's going to make this card trigger twice. And after all of these cards score up here, then the steel card will go off. And then the rest of the jokers will go off. So adding all the 4s from those. This is going off twice. Adding all that. Doubling. Then the steel card. Because everything lined up well, that hand was worth 70,000 points. Because the steel card gave an extra 50% bonus to our mult after I did all the initial stuff with these jokers. It's why I've been throwing steel cards into my deck, because they're an extra nice bonus. If I get some spade cards, especially a spade face card that's a glass card, or the ability to turn one into it, that'd also be a really nice thing, because that effectively would make it double the score when this goes off, and then double it again, which starts making things build up nicely as well. I took the polychrome bonus. I have no jokers here, which means it hasn't triggered. However, if I reroll, it will show up, and it hits an uncommon, so I can't take it. That's fine. Cloud 9 here is one I haven't made use of, but I want to play with at some point. It just gives you $1 for each 9 in your deck. Extra money isn't bad early on, but it doesn't help your score, except when you have bonuses like this. If I could take this card, I would hands down be selling this for that, because since I'm getting my bonus up to 30 or 40 with just these, and my level and whatnot, this is only giving me a +9. The 1.5 polychrome on here, if I say 30, would add 15 by itself at the end, which is greater than 9. So even though the other effect doesn't help build my score, the polychrome by itself is more powerful than this joker. But alas, moving on to the other stuff. We're going to grab the planet, search for Jupiter. Have no Jupiter, so continue leveling up our backup of 2 pair. And search the standard pack, ideally for more spades, if not more steel cards. And we do have another steel card, so we'll just throw another steel card in the deck. And on the next hand, I'm again just discarding to make the best hand possible, and doing another simple score check. I have the extra 5 this time, that has the 10 mult on it. So I would and the steel card. So I'd expect this hand to score somewhere around the 70 to 90,000 range again. But we'll see. I don't have quite as many other bonuses on stuff. Oh, no. Only 50,000. Good to keep in mind. The other bonuses mattered quite a bit more. So the jokers we have here, this is actually going to be a great time to talk about the balance of the score. Hanging Chad doesn't really matter. Retrigger the first playing card scored is fun, but not really what we're going for. This one, however, the Droll Joker, this one we're going to pick up, but we need to think about what we're changing out. So the plus 10 mult, not the most exciting thing, but this one's only giving me 9. So it is outright one better and outright a straightforward switch. However, as mentioned a long time ago, this blue Joker here doesn't mesh super well with this one. I am getting chips from this. I'm getting chips from this. But what is better for me? The blue Joker giving me, 50, 60 chips after I get done with my discards, or the extra 10 mult? I went back to the video. I ended up with 317 chips. I ran the math and subtracted the chips from the blue Joker. My previous hand was a little over 50,000. If I had reduced the chips by 50 and increased the mult by 10, it would have only been a 47,000 point hand. And I could go way more into detail about all of that, but the end result is the chips matter more than the mult for that, because I'm getting so much mult up front here, and all the mult is being multiplied up front and not at the end. If I had a Joker at the end that was multiplying things at the end, then this would probably be better than that. But since I have a straight up upgrade available as well, and almost all the X multiplying Jokers are uncommon or higher, I don't want to replace that. But as a reminder for the score, or maybe for the first time, since it's two numbers being multiplied together, the more extreme one side is and the lower the other one is, the more difference increasing one will matter. Like, just as a simple thought exercise, if you have 100 times 1, and you increase that 100 to 200, that's an increase of 100 on the one side, but it only increases the total to 200. On the flip side, if you have 100 times 1, and you increase the one side to a 3, that's a mere increase of 2, but that total, when you get done multiplying, ends up being 300, which is more than the increase of the 100 on the other side. So you do need to balance your chip and mult bonuses, as effectively, if your bonuses are completely equal, if you can add, say, 40 chips or 40 mult, you just want to add to the side that's lower, because if these two numbers are the same, that is the absolute best that you can do. These numbers doubling each other equally will result in the highest number, all things being said. Since all bonuses are not created equal, however, you need to weigh the pluses and minuses, as the chip bonuses tend to be far larger numbers. As we get into stuff, though, these bonuses from leveling up stuff, the chip bonuses on these build a lot higher. So later in the game, a lot of times the chip bonuses just don't quite matter as much as increasing the mult, especially as we tend to stack a lot of extra multiplication factors onto the mult. So even though it can be unbalanced, when even just a +4 mult ends up being multiplied 6 times or whatever, that tends to end up mattering a lot more than 50 extra chips on the other side. So it's a secret, hidden, really deep math problem that probably could be a big 50-minute video plus on its own, but just something to think about as you're picking your Jokers and trying to balance stuff. Obviously, most people aren't going to be recording their stuff, but when you're doing your score checks, try to keep in mind from time to time where the score is coming from, chips versus mult, So when you're trying to replace jokers, you can think about whether you need to replace the chip joker because you have enough coming from other sources, or if you just need to do a minor increase to a mult joker like this. Alright, with that all being said, let's sell this joker and replace it. I could have gambled for a random joker in here first, if there was that. But we're just going to take our chances with tarot cards. Hearts are useless, so we'll get rid of that. Try some planets. Oh, a Jupiter. And our backup plan that we haven't used yet. And search for more Jupiter. Get none. Get none of our backup plan, so third plan. And then we'll go on to the next one. Like, getting more tarot cards thrown in the shop's fine, but we want more money to hold on for interest. So this hand's ending up being another simple score check. While I was checking the video for the Joker in the store, I also quickly figured out the other reason the last hand was a little lower is simply I forgot about Even Steven. I played less even cards last time. This hand has more even cards and more steel cards, so should be higher than 50,000. Got the flush. We also leveled that up with more, Jupiter. So let's see how this one ends up. And we're up over 100,000 with the pretty much ideal hand of mostly even cards and 2 steel cards. Most of the final bosses are 100,000, so we're starting to look pretty good if I can get the ideal hand for them. However, there are a few that are 300,000, so, like usual, can't get content yet. Must continue to try to just improve things in any way we can. Alright, on to the next shop. We got one new Joker to look at. The loyalty card, which in general is not very good. That ×4 is huge, and can make a very large hand, and, well, again, I can't take it because I'm playing commons only, but if I did, I can line it up for the final boss, maybe. I have to be sure that I line it up so that it triggers on the final boss, which happens every 6 hands, which means I have to survive the non-boss things as well, and I just don't love it. I don't love things that I can't use every single round. It makes the in-between rounds really hard, and in general, I do not believe any of the bosses are so hard that I need a single Joker dedicated just to them. I personally would almost never take the loyalty card unless I'm staring at something like the wall as my boss coming up, and I really do just need to get a lot more points, then I have enough time to make sure to line that up. I would take it in advance, modify everything, use it on that single boss, and then toss it away. I do not want this Joker long term. I want to just try to get it there, use it for that really high scoring boss, and then restabilize my run. I do not, like I said before, I do not want things high and low. I want things stable. Down here, we'll go fishing for cards, and we'll go for the Spectral Pack, because who knows what we'll get. Probably nothing super useful, but I might as well swing for it. In the pack of cards, we have a spade and a steel card. This would be great if I was going in clubs, but I'm not. I could try to get this switched over with a wild card, but probably not worth the effort this late in the game. But this pack lets me choose 2, so I'll throw another steel card in my deck, and another spade. As for the Spectral Pack, these have random effects. I can't help but look at them. Adding extra effects like this onto spades, especially a red seal, is really good. This, really great for a pair deck early on. Really useless for me right now, especially since I don't have very many spades. I could switch into something else if I was doing that, but I'm not. Purple seal, also a solid addition, because it would just get me tarot cards for discarding stuff. And I could destroy cards for stuff, but this is the obvious choice for me. I just pick up this, because all the bonuses are in different layers for this. You have the base hero card ones, which is the chips, the glass, the steel, the wild card, the malt, the gold card, and that's the stuff on the very base of the card. And if you ever try to replace that, it will change it. Then you have this aura, the foil holographic polychrome, which is just kind of the shiny-ish effect on the card, and that's its own tier as well, its own layer. It will replace it if you ever change that, but it will stack on everything else. And then you have the seal level. So this 6 is going to have 3 separate bonuses on it, and it's going to trigger twice. That is the best card in my deck, period, especially since it triggers with both of these jokers. That is a great card to copy if I ever get a chance to do it. So on to the flint now, which the flint can be a huge pain. It halves the base chips and malt, which means that these are halved. So if you're really built up on level, this one can be really bad. It also means that all of our doubling effects are also a tad weaker. However, the way we build up score happens after the halving. So it's really not the end of the world. We're going to... I need to get more discards going. I only need 1 face card. Got 3 steel cards. A bunch of aces. So I've got the flush. I've got the 1 face card. I don't have any even cards. This is going to hurt my score a little. But the 3 steel cards going will be fine. I might not quite make the score, but I should have enough spades left in my deck that even if I fail the 1 score here, I should be able to make it up with my other 2 plays. So we'll see. Let's see how this ends up doing with the 3 steel cards. I need 6,000 more. I do not have quite the spades for it, but this is why we have a backup hand. So I don't want to burn all of the steel cards, but they happen to be all part of my things. So what we're going to do now is the backup hand plus the even cards. We'll still save 2 of the steel cards here, but we're going to get spades in here as well. I don't have any doubling effect, but I only need 6,000 more points. So this should get me pretty close if it doesn't get me all the way over. And there we go. And this is why I've been building a backup hand in case something happens where I don't quite get the right thing going. That way, I didn't have to rely on trying to get another spade hand. I had something going on that, well, I need 10,000 points. It's still a number of points, a decent number of points, but it's not impossible to get. And it worked out just fine. We'll continue on. So this time we have the mail-in rebate. Early on, this is a pretty decent joker to pick up if you've already picked up a molten chip joker. Discarding the card, it's a random one that shows up, but with a standard deck, while you're chasing other stuff, you just discard and get some money. It pays for itself pretty quickly. You keep it until you need a better joker, and it's just a decent way to get a little money. And later in the game, it is not a good joker. You do not want something like this taking up room and keeping you from having a high score unless you have a really powerful build going and you're just looking for more money. A couple jokers are based around money. If you have those, it can still be fine. But because it changes the card every round, this is not a good money joker for that either. We're going to get into the packs down here, see what we grab. We'll start with the Arcana pack. Got the Hermit for money. Go for another steel card. I think I'm just going to chase the money. If you recall, I have seed money, so up to 50 money will still get me interest. And at this point, I wouldn't mind a little interest. I don't know what the final boss is, so I might need to abuse rerolls a little bit in the end game, so a little extra money doesn't hurt. I'm still looking for more Jupiter, don't have any, so I'm going to build more on my backup hand, because that could be useful. And this voucher in particular allows planet cards to show up more. And because, like I said, I might need to abuse rerolls, and my flush Really want that to be at least a 7. Preferably like a 10. I'm going to pick this up, and so if I need to, I can re-roll a lot more and try to chase more planets that way. So, I can already see right here, I've got the boss that needs 300,000. That is a huge wall to get to, so I need to spend these next rounds doing whatever I can to strengthen my deck. My absolute best flush right now gets me about 100,000. Odds are very against me I can do that 3 times in a row, since my best flush requires me to discard everything to do it. I will also probably test something beforehand. What do my scores look like if I don't do all my discards? Because that's information I might need beforehand. I might have to aim for seeing my hands before I discard, so I can use my discards to try to aim for my best flushes later too. Because my backup hand I just tested. I know that only does 14,000 with an average hand or so. And 14,000 of 300,000 on 3 hands, not gonna get the job done. So I need to start planning now for how to deal with this boss, because I have no way to re-roll this. I don't have the voucher for it, I don't have a way to get more vouchers. I have to beat this boss, and beating this boss starts now. As I said, my first test is seeing how much the 15 mult from this matters. I don't think it actually matters as much as I am fearing. I think the hand I have going on here, decent number of even cards, face card here, and a steel card. I should still score at least the 50,000 here, even without the 15 mult. But we shall find out. I could run all the hard numbers, but going that hard, it's a pain. Real close, but it does matter some. The extra steel cards clearly can aid, but 50,000 a hand, not gonna get me to 300,000. Definitely need to find something in the shops to get me the rest of the way. It's the 2 even cards plus the 2 steel cards will help. I'll definitely finish this. I'll probably have over the 50,000. It's still going to be quite short of the 300,000. So, shop time. I'm going to start with the packs. I'm going to continue to look for good spade cards at this point. And these are all garbage. Not a good start. I'm also going to clearly look for any joker that improves my run. This one would have been fun at the very beginning. Riff Raff is a lot of fun. You just search for common jokers that you want and sell the others. It's secretly a money card as well as a way to get jokers. Especially in the black deck, if you see this early on, grab it. You have the extra joker slots. It'll usually give you some useful jokers, and it will give you extra money. This one would help my run somewhat, but it's uncommon, so I can't take it. Extra discard's going to do me absolutely no good. And this Faceless Joker is an okay money maker, but it's not going to help me win. So this was nothing but a waste of money. As I said, our journey to beat the final boss starts now. So we're going to do some rerolls here. This one is just a moneymaker, and I've gotten rid of most of my diamonds, so that's not going to do anything. This one's going to give us money, so we're going to start with that. Rerolls go up by 1 each time you do it, so we're going to do another one here. This Joker is a really solid Joker, and we already did the math for this one. We get 50 chips from this one, plus the 15 when we discard, so that's good. So we're just gonna increase this one too, because if we do our backup hand, we lose that. We're gonna end up buying this one, so this will be an 18, which is a small increase, but an increase none the same. And for now, we're gonna hold off on re-rolling again, because we'll get the extra money. Oh, actually, we'll do it one more time. We get interest up to 50 on this, but rerolls are going to go up. I'm probably going to reroll like crazy on the next one, but losing one more interest for one more reroll here, probably the better call. And we got a Jupiter, which definitely doesn't hurt. And we will go on from here. And this ends up being another score check round. Don't think I have enough going on yet, but got rid of the discards, have an extra joker, have an extra level of the flush, have almost the ideal hand here, 2 steel cards, the face card to go off with that, a bunch of even cards, and our really good 6, which will go off twice, give me extra chips, has the foil, which gives me even more extra chips. So this 6 card is worth, what, 80, 160, 172 chips on its own, which is going to help a ton. So I really need that 6 card for my final hand, most likely. That's 135,000. That was a huge difference, but still a far cry from the 300,000 we need. Alright, here we are. The final shop. The final chance to improve this run before we face that massive 300,000. First things first. Buy and use the Joker that gives us more money. The Wily Joker, well, we're not playing any 3-of-a-kinds. This one's okay in general, but not super great even if you're playing pairs. 100 chips is nice and helpful, but 3-of-a-kind is hard to bet on. I don't really like betting higher than 2 pair, and by the time you have 3-of-a-kind going, usually you have better chip sources than this one. We're going to go down and do the Arcana pack first. I'd love a death card to copy my 6, but there is none of that, and my 6 isn't up there. So the simplest thing to do is make a bunch more spades. And the thing we're going to do there, we're going to include the steel card, because that won't stop it from being a steel card. And while I still don't want to play it, if I need to play it, it's better if it's a spade so it can be played than if it's a diamond that's just sitting over there. And like usual, I'm just trying to eliminate the diamonds, so if I need to play a different flush as a backup, I can. Though, with this high of a score, if I need to play a different flush as a backup, I lose. And I'm still just searching for boosted spades and whatnot. You're not an even card, you are a face card, so you can help. So you're the best I can do there. And now, because I don't think I have enough, or if I do, I need a lot of luck on my side. And this is the end of my run. There is endless if I win, but if I don't win, it's over. I'm going to spend every last cent I have to try to help my run. This is great to improve my deck, but we're on the last hand, and this Joker likes cards anyway. So no interest in this, and this doesn't help me. Next reroll. These two are not Jupiter. They do not help. This one, flushes and straights can be made with 4 cards. This can be alright at times, but it doesn't add to my score, and playing less cards with my flush reduces my score, so this will just hurt me even if it wasn't uncommon, and thus useless. Useless. +2 hand size, -1 hands per round. Even if this was common, I couldn't take it because I'm probably going to need all 3 hands to get there. The extra hand size would help because I could potentially have more steel cards, but I don't think it would help enough to undo the use or need for the extra hands. However, I will take a Justice. The glass card might be useful, and the consumable cards up here are effectively trump cards you can use against the bosses. Reroll again. Delayed gratification. I'm actively using up my discards with the Mystic Summit, and I don't need money to help me right now. And the Zany Joker still doesn't help me. And this is my last reroll unless I get a Joker or tarot card that gives me more money. So, I can't take this Joker anyway, as it's uncommon, but this one's pretty solid if you want to, skip a bunch of stuff. And this Joker's often overlooked by people. All you have to do to get this Joker is go back to the main menu in the middle of the run, which will give you the option to continue the run later. And as soon as you continue the run, you'll unlock this Joker. As for popcorn, it's a 20 molt. And 20 molt is probably better than the 15 molt from discards. The 50 chips here helps, but I probably want my 20 molt at any given point and use those discards at all time. That's probably worth more than the 50 chips. I could do the math. I think I'm just going to have to trust my gut here and sell this and buy some popcorn and hope that this is enough going into the final boss. Alright, here we go. So, I have my 6 right away, which is important. I have an 8. I have a 10. I have an ace. I have a face card. I have a steel card. This was actually a beautiful draw. This actually might happen, which is great. So, the other benefit of me selling the one discard Joker is that this card still gets to make up some chips by me having more cards on my deck. First things first, I'm going to swing big with this and switch this into a glass card. So the end multiplier from this is going to happen twice. I would love to chase another steel card. Actually, it probably is worth it. Let's chase once for another steel card. I did not get another steel card, but I've got the 5, which is probably worth it for next time. I'm going to need more than one hand for this. I'm going to save my discards because I do not trust myself for all of this. We'll just go with this for now. This ideally will be close to 200,000. So we have all the extra chips coming from this, chips from that. 160,000. Still don't have a second one of those. But we do have a couple even cards, a bonus card, and a face card. We will chase one more time here to see if we can get a little more even cards. And another steel card. Did not. But ideally, this will be another 80,000 point hand or so. We're going to be nice and close. No, that was only 40. Definitely not enough. We did not get the flush here. However, we can discard up to 5 cards. We don't need 2 face cards for it. I need to swing bigger than that. So I need to discard all of that. Still did not get the flush. So, not going to quite make it on this run. It's a shame. However, I don't think I feel like this was a bad run for everything. Like, I would have loved this to be a victory. But sometimes the end boss is exactly that. I don't think there was anything on this run that really you can't learn from. If I had any other boss, this would have been plenty of points to do it. The negatives for the bosses wouldn't have mattered. So, while it's a shame that this is not a victorious run to show you victory with just the common Jokers, I think it's still a perfectly fine educational run. And by following a lot of the tactics here, you'll still get a lot better. And again, if it was pretty much any other boss, this would have been a successful run. Violet Vessel is just a really mean final boss, because it's triple the score that you need compared to any other boss. So, in conclusion, I just want to say, yeah, I didn't win. And yeah, some people might complain that a video telling you how to win with the black deck that doesn't actually win with a victory might be a little bit of a letdown, but really, I think this works as the final lesson that I was kind of trying to teach you from the beginning. You don't have to chase the perfect run, as it kind of takes the fun away from the game if you do. Trust me, I really wanted this to end with a win. But, well, you saw how it turned out. I still think this is a valuable teaching tool, and if you take a lot of my lessons from this, you really will do a lot better with the white stakes, and as you advance and go further, that a lot of the things that I taught you in this video will continue to teach you how to do better and have a lot more stable runs in the future. And overall, you'll win a lot more. Now, you do need to pick up a lot more advanced tactics for the later stakes, and I did not cover a lot of things you need to do. A lot more strict balancing needs to go on for that, and I may touch upon that in the future, but the point today was just to strictly show you don't need the best jokers to get to the end, and teach a lot of tip and tricks in order to try to help people increase their win percentages. I'm glad people are having fun with the game, but I'm worried that a lot of people are just going to bounce off the game because they aren't really getting better, that they're just trying to chase the best jokers and, just stop having fun with the game. I think the game's really good, and I think the future of the game, what they're going to add, is also quite exciting. There's a decent modding section for the game already that I'm very curious to see what's going on. I really wanted to make something out there that hopefully would make people continue joining the game. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I'll try to respond to them, and if they involve a more in-depth answer, I'll probably make a video for them. Because I found that it's simpler just to make videos to explain everything for this game. Anyway, I hope this helped you, and I hope everyone stays in good health. Later.